So good afternoon, guys. My name is Charlie Sullivan. I'm the UK sales manager for ZeeVee. Today we are going to be talking to you about the Samsung Experience Center and why Uncompressed HDR10 mattered at that install. I'm also with Kevin Madeja from Snelling's, who's the technical director, and he'll be running through half the presentation with me. So a little bit about us just before we start. Obviously, being from ZeeVee, we are 100% focused on AV distribution. That is all we do. That is all we've ever done. We are 15 years in the market, so we have a very narrow focus on what we do. We have deep expertise in encoding video. We are also an SDVoE founding member and have been from day one, along with the other guys. So again, deep expertise in delivering AV across an IP network. Snelling's are one of our largest UK integrators, one of our top partners, certified ZeeVee partners, one of the fastest growing integrators internationally now. And they focus from anything from universities, retail, corporate, government, and medical installations as well. So going back to King's Cross, it's not just a shop. So this is a versatile, flexible experience center, which is located in King's Cross, one of the busiest hubs in London and one of the largest redevelopment sites to date. The Samsung Experience Center actually is on top of the cold drops yard on here, so it kind of bridges the gap, which is above cafes, bars, restaurants. It's 20,000 square feet of showing off Samsung's technology, essentially. So it's a bit of a tech playground. But as I say, it's not a shop. It's much more than that. It's a versatile space with the world's first 10-meter LED vertically curved screen, which was a hell of an install from Snelling's, powered by ZeeVee's IP4K. But it needed to be versatile, it needs to be flexible. So it had the ability to be able to be transformed into a lecture hall, a conference center, art and design space, the ability to be able to show films, cinemas, e-gaming tournaments, and also show the entertainment and lifestyle products as well. So what did the client actually want? Their objective really was to showcase Samsung's most innovative display technologies. That was number one. They also were showcasing a lot of their other products, the entertainment and lifestyle products as well. But really, they needed the optimum image quality with the lowest latency, sending any source to any display across their network at any time. The challenge that we had here was to be able to be fully flexible. So this is an event space. You know, there's multiple different clients, multiple different events that are going on here daily, hourly. So it needed the versatility to be able to flip and change in a hair's breadth, basically. But they needed uncompromised image quality, true pixel per pixel, 4K 60, 444, and HDR10+. And that was outlaid from day one. So uncompressed video was an absolute must here. So whether they were hosting a yoga class, to an e-gaming tournament, as you can see here, to a conference, it needed that flexibility and versatility as well. So the ZeeVee solution that we put forward here was a Zyper 4K SDVoE solution. We have over 100 fiber endpoints across one Cisco network, which Kevin will go into a bit more detail on. Uncompressed 4K 60, 444 HDR10 was an absolute must. And obviously the lowest latency possible, going from any source to any display. It's also Europe's largest HDR10 install, which we're very proud of. And also it has the ability to be able to be flexible, to be able to add a source, to add a display at any time, being AV over IP. We also needed the ability to be able to scale to the 10-meter vertically curved screen, which was a challenge in itself. Due to the scaling engine in Zyper 4K, we were able to do so. We also had versatility in our formats, so we had HDMI in, we have display ports, multiple different formats as well, which really helped the client. And we also have fanless decoders, so there is no temperature constraints at all whatsoever. Easy installation as well. Our ZeeVee management platform really allowed for a very simple setup, configuration, and control of the system, which can be controlled via any third-party device at all. So the consultant and Snelling's looked at a variety of different options, as you can see here. We were in the mix along with Evertz, AMX, Crestron, and they were looking at just local media players in themselves. But essentially, we needed the ability to send uncompressed HDR10+ across the network. And solutions such as SVSI and NVX from Crestron, are compressed. With compression, you get artifacts, you get added artifacts, and you also get increased latency. And that was a no-no from day one from the client. So really it allowed Zyper 4K to be a leader with that. After testing and proof of concept from the integrator and consultant, they decided to run with ZeeVee, which is fantastic for us. So this is the product they ran with. We say near to zero latency. It was around 30 to 40 microseconds in Genlock mode. HDR 10 plus supported. It's a 4th generation product. So, this product has been out, tested, and proved in the market for many years now. You can do multi-views, so 9 sources to 1 decoder at any time. A 9x9 video wall. Dante support on there as well. Multiple formats in, as well as a fanless decoder. Not to mention being simple to set up, use, and control. So that was really the winner for us. We also had the fanless decoder on there, which is used in a variety of different areas. Anyway, that's enough from me. I'm going to hand across to Kevin, who's going to give you a bit more insight into the actual installation. Kevin.
Thanks, Charlie.
Cheers.
Hello, I'm Kevin Madeja. I'm Technical Director of Snelling's, and we did the integration at Samsung King's Cross with the Zyper 4K product. What I thought I'd do is just run through a few technical details for you. So in terms of the system, the components in the system, or the video system in terms of endpoints, video encoders and decoders, there were 54 encoders on the system. 26 of them were fed by BrightSign XT1144 players. Those are running all 4K. There were 18 outputs from 3 grip Green Hippo Targas, and these were media servers which are used to drive the big ScreenMax wall, as well as multiple LED screens around the store. 1 Blu-ray player, because you always have to have a Blu-ray player, 4K. 3 Sony 4K PTZ cameras, and 7 external 4K HDMI inputs used for local presentations. Output-wise, or decoder-wise, there are 40 decoders in the system. 22 of them are for 4K displays around the store. You saw those in Charlie's presentation photographs. 4 of them are for that ScreenMax 10-meter LED wall, 1.5 millimeter pitch. That's actually being fed by 4 4K signals. It's not running 8K, it's running about 6K. Just because of the pixels and the physical size of the display. So it was more an architectural feature than it was some type of video standard. There's also a 0.9 millimeter LED display, again 4K. We also had 12 Green Hippo inputs running 4K. These are the same Green Hippos as up here, so we could actually use video from other sources in the store and run them through the media servers. And there's also 1 engineering monitor, which allowed us to use the windowing functionality to monitor multiple sources. Network control-wise, the system was all running at 10G single-mode fiber. There's a Cisco Nexus 9300 switch with 128 ports. Totally non-blocking, which meant that any port to any port connections would be 10K. That we were not going through any management card. There was no issue with some kind of a bottleneck to get this multicast traffic through the switch. So that was a big deal for that switch. Very important for this situation. As Charlie said, we were talking about using uncompressed signals. Bandwidth wasn't an issue. It was picture quality and latency. We don't want any artifacts, and we don't want any delay due to compression. The entire system was managed through the ZeeVee Enterprise Management Platform that provided us the cross points between the encoders and decoders. And that platform was then controlled from an AMX control panel to allow the store personnel to have 1 button control over the system. So they could turn on the store, put it in an AM mode, put it in a PM mode, do the gaming mode. Okay, so it was simple for them to operate, yet behind it was some serious firepower. Schematic-wise, just to give you an idea what it looked like, so this would be a typical video source. You can see down there is a bright sign, XT player, and that would just go HDMI 4K to the ZeeVee 4K encoder, out of the encoder on single mode fiber at 10G, directly into the switch. So there were 26 or so of those in the system. Here is the output of one Green Hippo. So a Green Hippo would have 4 DisplayPort outputs, each capable of 4K. So each one of those, total of 6 per Hippo, had a encoder, and as you can see there, again, DisplayPort into the encoder, then onto the fiber, 10G, into the switch. The other thing with this is I talked about is the video ingest. And these are some decoders, 4 of them coming from the switch, decoding, coming out again on DisplayPort, and actually it was really HDMI ingest into the Green Hippos. So there were 4 inputs on the Green Hippos to allow us to get live video or other sources into the Hippo. So not only could you run files from the Hippos, you could also bring in live content and allow you to do a mix of those, so for live presentations, for instance. In terms of outputs or the video syncs, here we go with the switch. Fairly straightforward, coming out on fiber again, 10G into the decoder, and in this case, these would be into the Samsung One Connect boxes, which are the electronics package that goes with the flat panel displays. There were 22 of these around the store. Very straightforward, all running 4K. And the important thing as well is the HDR plus, okay, is getting that additional bandwidth through there, those extra bits, because not all AV over IP systems can support that. And this is a Green Hippo setup. So this is at the ScreenMax, the big LED wall, coming out again on the fiber, going to a decoder. The decoder then goes to a Samsung Snow box. This is the box that actually takes the HDMI 4K signal that comes in and splits it out into 4 HD or 1080p HD base T signals. And that's what actually drives the LED wall. So this is for one channel or one section of the wall, and there were 4 of these. So to do that 10-meter wall, we actually used 4 4K sources. Okay? That's basically the setup there. Now the important thing with this, as I said, why did we end up choosing this? And we work with Horley on this as well as Samsung. Number one, it supports HDR plus, very important, right? We needed that additional bandwidth, that additional bits that need to be transmitted. We wanted uncompressed picture quality. We didn't want any artifacts. We're selling televisions and displays, so we don't want anything to interfere with that or possibly interfere with the picture quality. Charlie mentioned we did take care of, in certain circumstances, the scaling ability on some of the decoders, so we could actually use or run some sources that were originally 4K at 1080p for certain monitoring situations. And the other real important thing, and certainly for the ScreenMax, and that's a picture of it there, in what we call the graffiti wall mode. And you can see there's some spray cans. They're not really spray cans, they're actually Galaxy phones that look like spray cans, and it allows you to do an interactive painting on the LED screen. So it's all virtual, but what we couldn't have is more than about 2 frames of latency, because you would have that disconnect between when you press the button and the motion and when it appears on the screen. So that was absolutely key for this application, is super low latency. And the ZeeVee 4K did a great job of that for us. So was it successful? Yes, it was successful. Key thing for us, to be honest with you, is it worked out of the box. Okay, we didn't have, when we got the management platform on the network, we put the IP addressing on the encoders and decoders, and we were up and going with pictures within minutes. So we didn't have to do, you set up your VLANs, we didn't have to do anything more than a very simple switch setup, which is fantastic for us. And I also mentioned this gen lock feature, or it's super low latency. So not only does that reduce that latency when you're doing motion and mouse movements, it allowed us to send multiple signals and maintain synchronization, right? Because as you know, that wall's made up of 4K signals. Results-wise, just to give you an idea what the hardware looks like, there are the 3 green Hippo media servers. You can see those are actually, there's encoders and decoders. The white boxes are the endpoints. And you remember the Hippos had 12 decoders for inputs and 6 outputs, so 6 encoders each. These are the snow boxes that are the drivers for the ScreenMax wall. You see the fiber single mode at the top. So the whole system was place was flooded with single mode fiber. And another idea, we did actually have copper in there as well as fiber, so that is actually the copper termination in the rack room. So finally, we worked with Hor Lee. Hor Lee actually did the original spec with Samsung, worked together with them, and we were lucky enough to be part of that process, and we worked together collaboratively as a design and project team. I won't read the quote, you can have a look at it, but basically very successful. We got the right products, and we were able to do a brilliant job for Samsung. So thank you very much. Please, if you're behind King's Cross, come on and stop by. They're always open. You can have a coffee in there. You can connect to the internet. It's a great place. Thank you.